But initially, we gave him a chance. I think we did right and gave him a solid chance to go out there and demonstrate,
Definitely.
decision
Definitely.
making, passing abilities, those things.
And we had this conversation back on November 11th.
Yep.
Now, so when people watch this, they're going to say, we had this conversation actually on November 11th, and Alex was saying, get him out of there, put it there. And I was saying, you still have, and here's the funny thing, the NFC South is so bad that they're still only 2 games back. I said, well, as long as you have a chance, you have to ride the veteran. But Ritter is a talent. I just didn't want to see him go out there and get hurt so early. But I think about 4 games back, as we talked about before we came on the air, you probably could have made that switch.
I think so. I mean, I think hindsight being 2020, right, is always the case. But up until that point, I think we actually had hindsight 8 games in. We had several games where just, serviceable passing, game management, right, understanding time and situation, down and situation, those would have given us some wins in some games we probably weren't thinking we were going to win for at least 2 years because we're in a rebuilding mode, right? And when that happened, it then kind of falls on the coaching staff to say, hey, wait a minute. Right. If these are the mistakes that we're going to make to lose games, why not make those mistakes with the rookie rather than go make those mistakes with the veteran? And so when the time, there's still time and so forth. The only thing that I would say here with the 4 games left, with you got Desmond Ritter and you put him out there on the field, is give him time to play. Right? Don't come out here and try and change things around and say, oh, well, wait a minute, Tampa Bay's losing or the Saints are losing. Let's go back to Mariota. I say make the decision, and then you live with what the consequences are, because you're going to learn a lot in these 4 games when you let the rookie play. If you don't let the rookie play, we don't know what we have, but I do know this. We know exactly what we've got in Marcus Mariota. And so, you can keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. At some point in time, somebody needs to tap him on the shoulder and say, yeah, we tried that. It didn't work.
I think he's had enough time. I'm talking about Desmond Ritter. Because you hate to see these rookies get out there and get hurt. Sometimes it affects them for the rest of their career. It usually ends up being a short career. I'm always against throwing a rookie out there, but it's been 12 games. Yeah. Now after 12 games, he has seen the speed of the NFL. Believe me. And he has been getting ready for it, because that if you're not getting ready for the NFL is going to get you. These guys can track you down like a lion tracks down a gazelle, and you won't stand a chance. You got to get rid of that ball. You got to get rid of it fast. You got to make quick decisions. And I bet you for the last 6 weeks, now that he's gotten used to this, he's been going to bed thinking about when I'm in this situation, when I'm in this situation. So now his mind is ready and up to speed in the NFL. I think they can put him in there. They know what Mariota can do. Now, the funny thing about this is I did some research on Mariota, and he's only thrown the ball over 200 yards 3 times.
Yeah.
The whole season. Now, they've won 2 of those games. And they lost the other one by 1 point. And this goes back to coaching again. Now, if your team seems to win when this guy throws for over 200 yards, you might want to try to do that more often instead of keep running the run-pass option. I don't know if it's going to work, but at least try to work to that to see if it might work.
I think the stats that we probably should pull up and we should look back at are attempts. Yeah. So while he may pass for over 200 yards, there's also something to be said when Marcus Mariota starts to approach that 20 to 25 attempts with the number of interceptions and the correlation in terms of losing ball control there. Because some of the decision making that was happening when you get up there in those attempts, right, they aren't exactly sound. And I understand some of those games, right, we just couldn't, the offense, I'm not going to tie that one directly to Mariota, but couldn't get going, right? And so you have more pass attempts and so forth, which in turn can lead to more interceptions. But there appears to be a direct correlation between the coaching staff trying to limit his attempts. So while we may have gotten over 200 yards, it wasn't because we were trying to get 200 yards. It just happened to be under 20 attempts. We tend to do a little bit better in terms of winning the game and managing the game. Some of those decision making, I don't want to knock the veteran, right, too much, but some of the decision making that happens when you put the ball in his hands and in control and give him more than a certain number of attempts, I would question as a coach. And I'm pretty sure the coaching staff kind of realized that. At the same time, you can look, right, we started moving the ball down the field. We had a couple of games. We had 160, 170-yard rushing games. I think we had another one that's 180-yard rushing game. We were running the ball, and that in and of itself, right, is another way to kind of mask some of those things that we were seeing with Marcus Mariota, right? We can manage the clock. We can keep the ball to ourselves, and we can still put up points on the board. We can run the other team down, right, without having to expose ourselves to the lack of passing game, which was, like I said, I think that was evident about Game 4. It was like, I don't know how much passing we're going to get.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, see, and you watch the game, so you're watching the games. And really, I can't say anything about it because you know what I see most of the time? Highlights. And even the highlights they make Mariota look good. You know, somehow he makes a good pass. He throws it 30 yards on a straight arrow dart to somebody, hits him right on the line. I guess that only happens 1 out of 5 or 6, 7, 8 times, though.
That's right. I'm fairly certain that's an accurate stat. 1 out of 5, 1 out of 6, 1 out of 7 times, depending upon the game. If there's rain involved, it may be 1 out of 10. Because it was, I can think back to the Carolina game, and I can think of a couple of games where it was trying to figure out, like, am I watching an actual veteran quarterback out there or some high school quarterback out there trying to manage the team? It was rough. When you're looking at it, some of the throws that he's doing are things that you're taught in high school, and you're like, that's not supposed to happen. You can't just be worried.
Is he
jumping up in the air and throwing it? Or the infamous throwing it off your butt, right? That turned into an interception, and luckily because he threw it off his butt, he was already down. Right, those are decision things where it's like we got to be past that particular point in time. And if that's the decision that at that game, if you have a fan turn that game off halfway through, right? If you have a fan turn, then as a coaching staff you're not doing right? And so coaching staff, they needed to sit there and really do a hard look at themselves and know what they were thinking. They were thinking the exact same thing that we were talking about back on November 11th, and that is, well, we're still in it, and we stand a better chance with a veteran than we do with a rookie if we're still in it.
And that's hindsight. Hindsight, you can be wrong or right. Now in hindsight, I'm looking at what they've done since November 11th. So that's been about a month and about 4 games, which has been next to nothing. You might as well have put the rookie in. That's right.
They might as well put the rookie in. And I tell you what, so we missed out big time because you had a chance. If you were to go back, I'm not saying the rookie needs to start, but maybe game 8, right around the middle of the season, you missed a chance to have the rookie start to gel, right, with Pitts. You missed a chance to have the rookie start to gel with Drake London. He could still probably start to gel with him, right? But even better, he had this awesome rushing attack to shield him, right? There's nothing wrong with he gets in these situations and you're not sure that he's going to function well. Just have him turn around and hand the ball off, right? And then he doesn't have to worry about it. He can look at the defensive sets and start to get a feel for the game and not have to worry about making this pass. But at the same time, you want to get him that exposure and those repetitions with those. I mean, Kyle Pitts could have bailed anybody out. I mean, he's a superstar talent, right? In the waiting, if you got a quarterback that can throw him the ball. And let's just say there were several times where he's running down the field and the ball's nowhere near him. So it's unfortunate we won't get to see him anymore this year. But I am excited to see